Hello and welcome back. Matt Lindsay here, Monday 19th of February. I did record something on Friday, but then I didn't post it. I didn't get through it. Wasn't happy with the content, so I'd rather you get something that's valuable than not. Today we're going to talk about PBN Lab, which is a piece of software that basically finds expired domains for your business. And then what you can obviously do is populate said domains which already have links and page rank, or they might already have links and page rank pointing to them. So the theory goes as follows, that when a domain expires, it doesn't necessarily mean that the links that are pointing to said domain also immediately get cancelled. So what you can sometimes find is where there's an expired domain that had authority, and maybe the business got sold, maybe the business owner died, or whatever. The business has been closed down for a number of reasons, or someone's just stopped paying for the hosting for the business, and there's still links pointing to it. So basically what PBN Lab does is it's a scraper tool, and basically what it finds is it looks at websites, so you give it a list of websites, and then it looks from that site that site is linking to, which is a single scrape, a single site crawl. It looks at the sites that site is pointing to, and then also you can do what's called a reverse site crawl, where it looks at the sites that those sites are pointing to as well. So I think that's right. It might be the other way around, but fundamentally what it looks at is, if you imagine you've got your site in the center that you put in. So if we were to say Watford Chamber of Commerce, as you know, I live near Watford. So what we could do is we could include this in our search. And furthermore, what you could potentially do, so if you wanted to find locally based businesses to go and then buy domains that have expired, this can be a great way of building your geographical authority for a particular area. So furthermore, if you've got multiple of these sites, it's sometimes considered that it's easier to build geographical authority than it is to build topical authority. Different schools of thought here, but this is the kind of theory of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to find Watford Chamber of Commerce, if it ever loads. And I don't know what the hell's going on with this. It's not a very good website. But effectively what we would do is we would put it in to PBN Lab, which again is not the fastest piece of equipment, so you have to give it a bit of time. So it will validate it. We're going to do a single site crawl, and then we will also do a reverse site crawl to this domain as well. What you end up with after you've run this for quite a long time is a list of domains that might be relevant to your business. And so you've got no idea what it's going to come up with. So you end up with, there's a filtering process that you need to go through. And if you want to learn more about that, do visit my website below, where I can take you through a full guide on this. But basically what we want to look for is majestic trust flow. Basically I don't have the Moz paid API key. So Moz domain authority would be the best one to go for. But basically what we can see is that there's a load of domains here. So for example, if you wanted to do a photography niche, then here we've got burkephotography.com. And for example, if you wanted to do a video on cameras, or a website on cameras, or on, I don't know, I was watching Authority Hackers the other day and talking about DSLR with Corey Torbik, or however you pronounce his name, just as an example, then this potentially would be a great domain for you to acquire, because you can see when it loads. Typical, we're getting a 301 response at that point in time. But basically what I was hoping to show you is that if we go back, let's go back to 2008. It's probably back here. But we can see that we've got a highly optimized website, and we're going to look at the number of links that are coming into this page as well. If it loads, there we go. Right, so we've got fine portraiture since 1990. So this is in St. Petersburg, Florida, blah, 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 right? So this is basically a photography studio by the looks of it. And what we can then go and do is we can see that this website has 63 links, and it's got a trust flow of, even though it's expired, and we think it's expired, it might not be because they sometimes not, but if we do Ahrefs authority checker, these don't always tie up, so do forgive me if it's not quite as exciting as it initially looked, but it has no domain rating, right? But it does have 180 backlinks. So if we look at what these backlinks are, they're from 7 domains. Blogspot, blog. I mean, they're okay links. That maybe isn't a good example. This is literally the problem with this piece of software, is obviously you have to go through and you have to look for dead URLs. So if we look at the next one, I won't bother going and looking. Oh, that didn't pull it. valdezer.com. That's not going to work. Obviously, what we're looking for is a high authority. So this one's got a domain rating of 7, right? Which is okay. It's better than a 0. So if you're starting something, then you can basically build the domain authority by generating these sites, populating them with AI content very quickly, adding in interlinking, etc. And this could then give you, if you wanted something about Studio Valdezer, I don't know what that is. It might be a Airbnb or something like that in the area. Then you could potentially create quite good authority. Now, obviously, the benefit of doing this is these are effectively, in the truest sense of the word, private blog networks. So you could, for example, I live in Hertfordshire in England. I could go and there we've got one here that's got 93. It's got a domain rating of 4.7 according to Ahrefs. You could basically go and build a network of these sites, which in turn could give you geographical authority, so that you could go and reach. For example, if you owned an agency and I was focusing on SEO in Hertfordshire, which is my county, I could basically go and buy a load of domains that focus on St Albans, Harpenden, Radlett, Watford, Luton, not Luton, Stevenage, Welwyn Garden City, Hemel Hempstead, blah, 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 blah. Go and find all of these. I could look on expired domain, I can't remember what the other domain, the website is, expireddomains.net. So we could potentially look on here. And you have to log in, and I'm pretty sure that my LastPass isn't going to work. But basically, you can look in here for these, but what this doesn't give you is domains typically that have internal links. And we can look at, let's look at it from a high number of link count perspective. As you can see, PBN Lab is a bit slow. This is one of the downfalls of it. It does sometimes take a bit of time. But here we've got something that bozamunicipality.com, it's got 849,000 links pointing to it, which doesn't exactly fill me with confidence. That probably is a bit scammy, but let's have a look. See what the domain authority of this one is, for example. So you've got something that's got domain rating of 26, right? So if you were looking at this, what you could potentially do is, if we go to archive, the beautiful thing about this is it takes you straight through to the archive.org, so you don't have to sit there and go through it. It's never been archived. That's probably a flag. But let's have a look at the next one. Turquoise Jewelry World, whatever that says. So this is an arduous task, right? This is not a quick process. But what you can do with these links, so that has no backlinks according to this. The Master of Ceremonies Club.co.uk, it's got 585,000 backlinks according to this. 0.6. According to that, it's got 4. Right, so clearly that is not... let's have a look at Majestic IP addresses. So go for the highest IP addresses on the basis that the more IPs it's got pointing to it, the higher the domain authority could be. There's no guarantees that it would be. Right, so let's have a look at this. Look at this one. Just as a complete example, it looks like it's something to do with... That looks like a German website to me. But anyway, let's have a look. So this is a way, effectively, of you can basically build authority. It's got 5.4, but it's only got a domain rating of... I mean, there must be some spam links there. That is not ideal. Send4center.com. Okay, so it's got 759 IP addresses. And obviously this kind of highlights the difference between trust flow from Majestic and domain authority from Ahrefs. So we've got gambling affiliate programs. Now there's probably a load of spam links to this, but it'd be interesting just to see what the domain authority is. But as you can see, there is a process in doing this. So the majority of people are not going to spend the time doing this, but there's a website. If you're in the gambling niche, if you were trying to establish something for, a sub-niche of a sub-niche within gambling, you could basically buy something that's got a domain authority of 5. You could even use that as your website if you wanted to, or alternatively, you could link back to your domain. And the way that I would build it is stick it on Cloudflare. So stick it on your server, stick it on Cloudflare so it's got a different IP address, and then point it to your other website. And then you could build a network of these. You could use these. You could sell links on them. You could use them to power up local domains, etc., etc. So there's lots of different ways that these can be used. But I find that it's a really useful tool. And there are some amazing domains in there. The hunt is the challenge in terms of my domains. If we just go back in here, the list is huge. I've got hundreds of thousands of domains that it's crawled and it's identified that are broken links. So this is, it's not a quick process. This is something that takes time. Anyway, visit. I mean, if we just went in terms of the trust flow, so as we started off at, but clearly we saw there's a differentiator between Ahrefs domain authority and Majestic trust flow. We can see that there's not that many above 30 is the reality of it. But what we can do is basically then you've got this. Sorry, there's another thing as well. So you basically got the ability to select different type, for example, construction and maintenance, right? If you want construction and maintenance websites, you can basically go and buy scaffoldrust.com, which has a trust flow of 31, which I may have already bought. I did buy one of these. Ebbs Pest Control. Let's have a look at this one. I do have a pest control website, so it's not actually live, but it's one of those that, again, it's only a 1.3, but it does have 100 backlinks. So EBS Pest Control, there's a Blogspot, there's a Shopify. Yeah, I would say that's probably not. But from a Google perspective, these are, they're authoritative, but they're just not providing any domain authority. So yeah, I probably wouldn't waste my time with that. SP decorating, this one I might well look at. So just to this is live. I'm finding this one for the first time. I could basically go and buy this. If it's any good, no. Again, domain rating of 0. However, I did find one, and I'm not going to disclose what the domain is, but I found one that was pretty bloody good about a year ago. And it's got a domain authority of 29 that's stuck. I've built some new links on it, and that has powered up my website significantly, because it's the only outbound link that I've built on that website, other than to various other little bits and pieces. But the primary function of that website is my outbound link to my website. Parker Joinery. But as you can see, this is a process of going through them, and eventually you'll find one. Now, what you have to look out for is that they haven't been spammed, because lots of them have. So there's a bit of work in going through and basically checking each domain. You've got to look at the backlink profile of them. You've got to look at when their page authority was granted, and make sure that they haven't just been artificially enhanced, which lots of these have. Domain rating of 6. Again, it's not really, you want to be getting kind of 20 plus is my opinion, and really 30. Fairham Fireplaces. I just want to find one that's actually got a bit of domain authority to it, because it's a bit of a search to find them. But basically, what you would do is you start this way and you work your way through them and find those that have authority. So let's have a look. See. Evergreen sinus. That sounds disgusting. Might be that I'm using the wrong column. It just occurred to me. 2.4, nothing really. As you can see, there's loads of domains here, and it's just really is just a case of going through them. Disciple design. Right, so this, for example, could sit as a backlink to the painting and decorating business to give it some more authority. 3.7, again, not worth it. You probably want to be going for domains which have a higher domain authority than your existing website. There you go. Anyway, hopefully that was a useful insight. PBN Lab, they've got various different, in terms of the pricing for it, they've got various different pricing plans, which are monthly, or you can use pay-as-you-go credits. If you want the single site crawl, which in my opinion is the most powerful tool that they have, you need the $157 per month Terra plan. There's no, but you can just use the mega one, or you can do pay-as-you-go. So this then gives you a load of yeah. So what you've got to go and find is basically methodologies for finding the site. So just to summarise that bit of it, so what you could do is you could go to your local Chamber of Commerce, you could go to all the local businesses, go through Google, and then basically find local broken links. And it does actually, the article that I was reading here is how to find your first 10 expired domains. So what you could basically do is build a profile, which this is about Bradley Whitting's mountain bike cycling, and then basically go and do hundreds and hundreds of different steps to basically go and find broken links that are related to your search. Yeah, so there we go. It is. It's an interesting piece of software. It is a bit clunky, in terms of the negatives, but there are some gems to be had. So it's an investment of time, and it can potentially be a cheaper way of building your own kind of link network. Obviously, if you choose to do that, keep those all discrete from Google. Don't get them all mixed up. Anyway, hopefully that was interesting and worthwhile. Have a great day. I'll be back with more soon.